The reason 99% of people don't make gains. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. I thought I would chat with you guys and gals a little bit about this today. And it's very simple. People don't want to hear this, but quite frankly, people don't train hard enough on a set per set basis. Now, when I say that, you get people who are like, what do you mean? I swing weights around and I scream and yell and do all sorts of cheat reps and all that. And it's like, yeah, that's not actually training hard. Okay? Training hard means you take sets very, very close to failure or to failure. Okay? Training hard means you do them with strict form and you progressively overload and add weight and or reps over time. Okay? If you are not doing those things, then that's why you're not making gains. And it's pretty straightforward, people. It is very straightforward. And I get lots of guys, and I've had to deal with this with clients who stalled. In fact, if you guys remember, like if you saw Calvin give his testimonial, like his client testimonial, he was a perfect example of a guy who's like, I trained really hard. And then I'm like, no, you don't, dude. You train, quite frankly, like a pussy. And he didn't take it too well. But then all of a sudden he made gains, notice his afters. And there's a time when you have to tell people this. Like I straight up told him, I'm like, dude, you train like a pussy. And we fixed it. And then guess what happened? Now the dude's walking around bigger. He's got abs. The love handles and stuff are gone. You know, what happened? Well, he started training hard. But he's like, but I do, my sets are really hard. They're focused. Like, look at this. I control these eccentrics. He's like doing all these 4-second eccentrics and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, why don't you just move some weight with good form and actually take sets to failure? So, I mean, a perfect example, I got him on camera because he's one of my distance clients. And I'm like, look, like take these rows, right? He's like, yeah, I mean, I can do 12 reps with this weight. With these dumbbell rows, one-arm dumbbell rows. And I told him, yeah, I'm watching what you're doing. Put another 2.5 kilos on, right? So he went up 5 pounds. I mean, I'm giving you guys a real life example of someone who you've seen before and afters of. In my stuff, in my testimonials. Like, yeah, put more weight on there. And I made him do the set to failure on camera. He increased weight and his quote unquote 12 rep max, and he said, oh, I only have maybe 1 rep left. We went heavier and got 17 reps. All right. And then he was shocked. He's like, but it felt like that's all that I had. I thought I was training hard. I'm like, but you weren't, were you? He goes, well, clearly I wasn't. Wow. He's like, now I've got this pump. Oh my God, my whole back, because it was rows. He's like, man, my lats hurt. Like it all burns. I got this crazy, what is this? Right? And he could tell you guys the same if he ever comes through on social media, because he did that before and after testimonial. He'll laugh about it now and go, coach was right. He goes, I thought I trained hard. I really thought my sets were hard till I made him do those. And the thing is, when someone truly trains hard and you're used to it, you can't even always tell. Like when I take sets to failure, on some of these people are like, really, it didn't look like you had several reps left, but then they don't realize the weight just stopped moving. Because I'm used to maintaining that form now. Some lifts you'll see my face. You'll see my face and me shaking. But the idea here is if you've got 5 reps, like if and people hate that. I've said that to people before. They're like, you can't use that situation because adrenaline. No, dude, adrenaline does not make you stronger. If you are used to training hard and lifting heavy and your life was literally on the line, you will not be able to lift more weight. And that's what people forget. They get caught up when you say stuff like if someone came and put a loaded weapon to your face and told you with a weight that you normally can only get 10 reps on, that if you don't get 14 or 15, that's it. The people are like, well, yeah, people would get 15. If you can, then you have not been stimulating muscle growth. And I do mean that. Then your workouts have been a complete waste up until that point. And the only way you're going to make gains, I guess, is for someone to stand there with their finger on the trigger right at your face. That's literally the only way you're going to gain any muscle then, if that is what it takes for you to reach that. Because If you are physically capable of doing it even in that environment, then it means you were physically capable of doing it before. That's what people don't get. Just because there's adrenaline, you shouldn't be stronger if you're a trained lifter. That only happens to non-lifters. That's been studied. Like, we know this from the lab. People who have years of heavy lifting experience don't have mama bear strength. They don't actually have it. It disappears. They don't have the ability because they do it every week. And I'm not making that up. This has been looked at. The average person just doesn't have the neuromuscular efficiency without like that adrenaline. People who lift can flip it on at any point. If you have actually been training hard consistently and lifting heavy and have good neural drive, that 100% absolute strength, that fight or flight strength, is actually something you're capable of doing anytime you want. And again, this has been known for like 15, 20 years. Like, researchers figured this out over a decade ago looking at serious high-level weightlifters. Okay? You can train that response. And so here's the problem. When I say that if you could do it in that situation, that you've been doing nothing in the gym, I do mean that. That's why you're not making gains. You are literally not training hard. You're just not. You should be able to calmly do that at any point without the adrenaline. Because a perfect example, Calvin thought he was training hard. And as soon as I told him, you have to keep going, all of a sudden he produced 5 more reps with a heavier weight than he had been using, with good form and power behind them. Okay? So what I'm suggesting to people is you're just not training hard. You might think you are, but if you're not making gains, I promise you're not doing difficult sets. Because in his case, he wasn't making gains because he had over 5 reps in reserve, because we went up with weight. Well, if you're 5 reps from failure on every set that you do, you are literally going to have to train for 10 hours a week to make gains. That's why those volume studies from the coaches who are really pussies when they train, all the people in their studies need 30 sets to see maximum growth per muscle group. Why? Because the first 20 sets were warm-ups. They didn't actually train hard. They're more than 5 reps from failure. Okay. Number one reason 99% of people aren't making gains, they are just not training hard on a set-per-set basis. That's it. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.